I really think that we can do a lot with this.
This is really not the way we do things in public health.
They captured my attention as well as my heart.
It was an opportunity to really work with one of the major institutions in the community to try and see how we could work together to create something different.
I've been a public health professional for almost a decade in Minnesota, and this is probably the most exciting project I've ever been involved with.
We live in a very, very diverse community, and we want to serve our entire community. You know, when we talk about community, I don't look at community as just my group of people. Without that global perspective, I think we're going to shortchange ourselves and our children.
The department was really interested in developing an urban health agenda for the city of Minneapolis. We developed this community advisory committee.
The co-ownership, the mutual risk-taking was really an important component so that we all felt that we were standing on the same ground.
So we tried to choose representatives of the communities that reside in Minneapolis, some of the larger ethnic racial groups.
We want people to know what we're thinking, what we're feeling, what our experience is. We often do it by sharing our stories. People from the other communities began saying, well, yeah, storytelling is a big part of what we do in our community as well.
We really want the communities to define what health means to them.
Tell us a time when you were healthiest and happiest.
It's around honest dialogue.
What does that mean to be healthy?
The similarity is just outstanding.
It was kind of a beautiful synergy at the end when out of all of these individual storytelling sessions, we were able to really identify these powerful, compelling themes that came out of each of our communities.
Ta shi non da lu te chơi nó cá nhân rong chị rong lu ta shi nó mi bỏ mi ba xong ban dong tầng ra ia tờ thì ta la tháp của mà rong xía tháp là li mấy giá chỉ bỏ lại kia đi nữa nhưng mà giờ rong xía lọ khó thì trả nó chị tao cái một bỏ ba xong ban dong tầng ra ia rồi bỏ cứ bỏ ti bỏ năng bỏ trả bỏ phong bỏ dư số đời bỏ ti bỏ chua nó chị rong xía lọ đi sẽ thì nó na.
You know, when we go to the doctor, we always have somebody go along with us, especially a sibling or sister or whatever in the family. And what I heard from the other community, all the same thing.
The focus in most Latin countries is the entire family. It's very holistic, and people do things together. Everyone told a story about how what they thought helped them is to do activities together, to have meals together, to dance together.
You go to the doctor and you have a diabetic child, and the doctor talks to you about the child and how you need to alter the meals of that child. But the child lives in our family, and we need to look at it holistically.
Children really make you turn your situation around.
Yeah, like a year and a half ago, I got pregnant. That totally changed my life for the better.
We didn't want just a statistical analysis. You can pick that up anywhere because the statistics really don't tell the story.
You're getting input, you're getting valuable information from people that usually the public health officials ignore.
Anh ở đây, bạn bè anh cũng ở đây, áo rách xác tơ vai gầy, cùng chung kiếp sống lưu đày. Anh ở đây, ngày ngày ngô khoai vài chén, chiều buồn ra trong đàn én, kiếm mồi tung cánh bay nhanh. Chiều trôi mau, xót xa buồn nhớ em, tình thương con vẫn đong đầy ánh mắt. Anh ở đây, sao anh vẫn còn ở đây?
All of us have had different historical experiences. We've been through 400 years of health, and we're reclaiming who we are. And the fact that we've weathered all that and we've come out on the other side and we're still here and we're still strong is really a pretty amazing story.
Resiliency is just part of what we identify in our group as just part of who we are, and that we have to get to another level.
How many of you get and tell the truth 8 hours of sleep straight without any help.
90% of the women only got 4 hours of sleep a night. And so we're dealing with a sleep-deprived circle of women.
There's a lot of trust that is weighted into this prior to people accepting to be videotaped and to tell their stories.
We have to do what we're doing right now is to actually come out to the community and talk to them and have the community themselves organize this group and build that relationship.
They came in as active listeners and learners, and that is where the miracle lay for me.
If you use your voice wisely, you can create health and healing. You can help somebody out of a place that seems impossible to get out of.
Health is not just physical health or the absence of disease, you know. It's related to being culturally intact, spiritually intact.
waxaa ka daaweyn kara sida odaga uu sheegay meel nabadoodadan lagu dhibeen oo dhibaata aysan ka dhacaynin inuu qofka yimaado ama uu xiriirsan jiray mar qofka bini'aadamka hadduusan rabin isaga inuu cid wax gaarsiiyo revenge raban inuu sameeyo uu samayn karo laakiin uusan rabin u diidayso bini'aadamnimada.
It's really important to maintain the connection between mental health, well-being in your mental health, and spirituality.
họ giờ lấy cho rồi nó lấy có tôi chọn mà bé hay mà giờ lên chân mà giống một cái mũ ta chỉ in ra mà nó chỉ cả chân mà nó điểm mong đà mong hay mong tôi chỉ bỏ tụi đại của nó mà lấy chân chân ta chỉ mà ở khăm mỏ thôi mà ít khăm mỏ đại tụi nâng đỡ sợ chỉ tàu này một kho chỉ tàu này một chỗ chua mà kho tài sản cho chỉ tàu là gì giờ cửa mong mà nâng sẽ mong một chỗ tụi bì cho cá xương nè họ giờ thì cá mỏ phải nhá này một nó chua gì rong.
We need to be praying, we need to be doing non-traditional types of things that will sustain our health and improve our health.
markaan kuwan leegayn maanan daali jirin adduunka oo dhan waxaan kusoo mari jirin orod iyo lug hataa waxaan garanayaa anigoo ilmihii koowaad uurkiisa anigoo ilmaha la ciyaaraya oo la baratamaya orod aan ordaayo ayaan garanayaa.
One of the elder women joked and she said, if I had a place that I could play soccer, I will amaze you with my talent.
Here in America, we have, treadmill, we have all of this sorts of exercise. They can't afford those.
Yo antes jugaba yo hockey por 6-7 años, pero como ya estoy muy grande para seguir jugando, pues ya no voy a poder ir jugando, pero sí, eso sí me ha ayudado mucho a sacar mis problemas, dejarlos a un lado y juntarme mucho. La otra cosa es tener amigas alrededor mío que le pueda hablar, le puede decir yo mis problemas y ellas me pueden decir mis problemas. Nomás estar un rato con ellas caminando al parque o algo así.
Some of the mothers said, I fear asking my children to play outside because I don't want to be perceived as a negligent mom, and I don't want the neighbors calling them on me. And as a result, because I am so busy, I have to cook, I have to clean, I have to do all this stuff, and I can't monitor them at the same time. I lock them in my house, even during summer.
dad dhalinyaro ahayn oo maxaan idhaahdaa adduunka oo dhanna aan maxaan dhihi jirnay ciyaalkan waxa weeyaan gaari baa la saaraya iskuul bay aadayaan bal gaari baa la soo saaraya waa laga soo rogaya gurigaadana TV sidaa leeyihiin markaas taas waxa ka fiicnaan leed sidii oo kale in loo sameeyo noloshii oo kale oo isku wada yimaado hooyooyinka caruurta yareed wiilasha gabdhaha meelo aad u waaweyn oo ku ciyaaraan oo la socdo oo la ordo oo la dalxiiso oo
Lo más importante para lograr mantener a mi familia saludable
es el mantener nuestra cultura, nuestras costumbres y nuestra manera de ser lo más posible. Por ejemplo, hablar español y comer comidas puertorriqueñas, mantener la relación de madre e hijo tradicional, escuchar nuestra música y bailar, ver nuestros programas de televisión, ir a misa y también acudir a servicios médicos y de salud proveídos por profesionales latinos.
Some of the values that our ancestors had.
Yeah.
They knew how to eat vegetables. They knew a little bit about herbs or whatever. And so, the body is so miraculous. God is so merciful that it's always healing itself if we would just work with it. And so if we would see our kitchens as a healing laboratory, we either take our health away or we give ourselves health. So really your hospital is your kitchen. You're the first physician.
When people have been removed from culture, they become unhealthy. Physically, emotionally. A lot of times the way they find their way back to health is by re-engaging with their traditional culture.
She would pick these special medicines. A couple years back, my auntie took me and my sister out to the woods, and I didn't pay attention, but my sister paid attention. Now my sister, she's kind of like strong, and she knows what medicines to use when she has like a headache or a backache or any kind of aches in her body. Sometimes I wish I would have paid attention. I feel like proud of her all the time because she's able to, know these traditions and keep them alive.
What I'm hoping more than anything is that the citizens of this community become engaged in their health.
There are a lot of Native people that don't like to go to doctors and won't, because of the situation that exists there. Hospitals that want to test people because they smell a strange substance on them and don't have the education in college or in their professional development that would bring their attention to people who do use certain sage before they have babies.
Most of the Southeast Asians kind of want to go to a doctor. They need interpreting. They need people there to translate whatever they needed to. However, they still like to see if there's a Vietnamese doctor or Hmong doctor there so they can easier to talk to them, to open even better.
It's critical to understand that cultural framework if you want to help support a community's health.
in dadka loogu sheekeeyo haddaad dhakhtar ay tagaan ama laga qaado testiyaal blaadka ama wax maaragtay dhiiggaa ladka maaragtay ka shubanhayaa oo kale qof meel xanuunaysa oo kale haddii la yidhaahdo let me say hypotherapy you need a surgery in la yidhaahdo waxaa lagala baxaya wadnaha lagala baxaya keliya lagala baxaya marka waxyaalahaas oo dhan oo maaragtay oo lack of awareness oo fikrada qalad dadka laga dhaafiyay.
How do we get to the point where we can actually trust the people that are supposed to be providing services for us?
When people go in to be diagnosed, African American people of color to get diagnosed for a certain thing, a doctor will look at them and once they was giving them medication for high blood pressure and they didn't have high blood pressure, they just assumed because she was or he was African American that they had high blood pressure.
Even if the doctor isn't black, if they are culturally competent, I have the same effect. You know, if they know my culture.
This is the first time that the City of Minneapolis Department of Health and Family Support has had an event accessible in so many languages at one time. We wanted to move in this direction in the year 2009 in the most culturally and linguistically diverse city in the state. Our next step for tonight is to hear from you of what additional ideas do you have to make the whole city of Minneapolis healthier.
A major mainstream institution like the health department had never come to them before and said, tell us your story. And the health department was there.
How do you use the stories within people? How do you use the wisdom people hold? How do you use the teachings that they have
And how do you begin to use that to rethink engagement with community, relationship with community, and more importantly, partnership with communities?
It's only when you can get into a place where you can be truly vulnerable and you can truly talk about what are the real issues and what are the real impacts that I think that you can really begin to make change.
One person said that the most important thing that we can do is listen and not to mistake silence for happiness.
I also want to thank Gretchen, Emily, and the City of Minneapolis Health Department for actually putting this together and actually listening to what we had to say.
I was moved close to tears many times, even in sessions where they weren't speaking English, just because of the feeling and emotion that you could understand with or without language.
The health department has a responsibility to act on what you have shared with us. How are we supporting family? How are we asking people who get our money to be true to culture or to represent culture as they help people? And so that is one concrete way that we have begun, and I think we have a lot more to learn about how to do that with integrity.
The city of Minneapolis was not attempting to do research on us, the community, but with us as a community.
Thank you, thank you, thank you for trusting us with your stories.
You have to listen for a change. You know, it's the searchers who get the answers. It's not the planets, you know?
I mean, it's even cost effective because they will be more effective programs because they're designed by the consumer more.